In the turbulent world of the young and the restless, nothing is ever as straightforward as it seems. Phyllis Summers, a character known for her fierce tenacity and unbreakable will, has apparently met a tragic end in a horrific car accident. The scene was devastating. Her car left mangled beyond recognition, with little hope that anyone could have survived. News of Phyllis's death quickly spread, sending shockwaves through Genoa City and leaving her family and friends to mourn her sudden loss. The shocking funeral announcement. With Phyllis's death officially confirmed, her son Daniel finds himself confronting a sorrow that cuts deeply. In a short span of time, he has lost two of the most important women in his life: Phyllis, his beloved mother, and Heather. Daniel's grief is profound, compounded by the belief that Sharon was responsible for his mother's demise. He's convinced that Sharon's relentless messages, sent to Phyllis just before the accident, played a crucial role in distracting her, ultimately leading to her fatal crash. Guilt and anger consume Daniel. Although he struggles to make sense of the tragedy, he knows one thing for certain: someone has to pay for Phyllis's death. And in his mind, Sharon is the prime suspect. As far as Daniel is concerned, justice is the only path forward, and he's determined to hold Sharon accountable. Phyllis's death, is it real? However, the cunning and resourceful Phyllis Summers isn't one to go down without a fight. Behind the scenes, a much darker, more twisted plot is unfolding. Unbeknownst to her loved ones, Phyllis has not perished in the crash. In a stunning twist, she has faked her own death, using the accident as a means to disappear and to settle a score. Phyllis has every intention of haunting Sharon, tormenting her with the ghostly reminder of what she believes Sharon has done. This charade is more than just a scheme. It's a calculated act of revenge designed to make Sharon live in fear and regret. Phyllis plans to use her death as a weapon, creating an illusion of haunting Sharon in subtle and psychological ways. From strange, inexplicable messages to unsettling reminders of their shared past, Phyllis's plot will push Sharon to her breaking point, forcing her to confront her own guilt and paranoia. Phyllis aims to exact a kind of poetic justice, playing with Sharon's mind in a way that keeps her constantly on edge. The world may believe that Phyllis is gone, but in truth, she's orchestrating her own version of retribution from the shadows. Sharon's guilt and self-doubt. Meanwhile, Sharon finds herself caught in a psychological whirlwind. Although she knows she wasn't responsible for Phyllis's accident, the weight of the accusations and her own complicated history with Phyllis make her question herself. As the town whispers about her involvement, Sharon begins to feel as if her hands are stained with guilt. The accusations weigh heavily on her, especially as she recalls the tension and animosity that once defined her relationship with Phyllis. As eerie, anonymous messages begin appearing, seemingly from beyond the grave, Sharon's mental state begins to deteriorate. She starts to feel as though she is being haunted, constantly looking over her shoulder and questioning every little detail. Phyllis's carefully crafted scheme is working, as Sharon's own guilt and paranoia begin to spiral out of control. She is tormented by the thought that she may be responsible not only for Phyllis's death, but also for the unresolved mystery surrounding Heather. The emotional toll is relentless, leaving Sharon feeling trapped and isolated. The day of the funeral. The day of Phyllis's funeral arrives, and Genoa City gathers to bid farewell to one of its most dynamic and divisive figures. The atmosphere is somber, the crowd filled with familiar faces, each reflecting on their memories of Phyllis. Some mourn her passing with genuine grief, while others feel a bittersweet relief, knowing that a fierce competitor has exited the stage. Daniel stands at the center, torn between grief and anger, as he prepares to say goodbye to his mother. His heart is heavy with sorrow, but there's a simmering rage beneath his exterior, directed squarely at Sharon. He's convinced that her actions led to his mother's death, and his mind is filled with thoughts of vengeance. The eulogies paint a picture of Phyllis's complicated legacy, her passion, her loyalty, her knack for survival. Her loved ones recall the fierce spirit that defined her, a woman who was as strong-willed as she was loving. But as the tributes pour in, an unsettling feeling lingers among the attendees. The funeral feels like the end of an era, yet there is a palpable tension in the air, a sense that this story is far from over. Phyllis's haunting begins. Just as the mourners begin to disperse, subtle signs of Phyllis's presence start to emerge. At first, they are small, almost imperceptible hints, an oddly placed flower, an unexpected note, a mysterious text. But to Sharon, each instance feels like a message, a warning that she can't escape the consequences of her actions. Phyllis's carefully orchestrated hauntings grow bolder, creating an atmosphere of suspense and dread. As Sharon's paranoia intensifies, she becomes convinced that Phyllis's spirit is lingering, bent on revenge. The pressure of the situation begins to fracture Sharon's composure, and soon her entire world is consumed by fear and doubt. Phyllis's plan is succeeding beyond her wildest expectations. She watches from the shadows, satisfied that Sharon is finally experiencing the torment she believes she deserves. Will Phyllis's scheme go unchallenged? But even as Phyllis revels in her plan's success, she knows that her secret can only be kept for so long. The act of faking one's own death is a risky endeavor, and Phyllis must navigate the delicate balance of maintaining her cover while continuing to torment Sharon. Every calculated move carries the risk of exposure, but Phyllis's hatred for Sharon drives her to take those risks, no matter the consequences. Meanwhile, Daniel's own quest for justice intensifies. Determined to uncover the truth behind his mother's death, he delves deeper into the circumstances surrounding the accident and Sharon's alleged involvement. His investigation threatens to unearth Phyllis's deception, potentially bringing her back into the spotlight before she's ready. A tense future in Genoa City. The stakes have never been higher in Genoa City. Phyllis's elaborate plot to punish Sharon is a ticking time bomb, one that threatens to explode in dramatic fashion if her secret is revealed. Sharon's mental state continues to deteriorate, inching her closer to a breakdown that could have devastating consequences for her life and relationships. Daniel, driven by grief and a need for closure, is unknowingly on a path that could expose Phyllis's scheme and upend the lives of everyone involved. As the dust settles from Phyllis's funeral, one thing is certain. Genoa City is about to be rocked by revelations and reckonings. Phyllis's vengeful spirit may be a facade, but her plan has set in motion a chain of events that will forever alter the lives of those closest to her. With each passing day, the tension builds, and the residents of Genoa City brace themselves for the moment when the truth will finally come to light.